Hi, I'm Jessica Cohn, Health Wellness Program Coordinator for Portland Fire and Rescue. Today we're going to do a knee rehabilitation program. All you need for today's program is a chair and a foam roller. We're going to get right into it. We have 30 to 60 second stations for our exercises. So you're going to get started right into a straight arm plank. We're just going to do a little bit of a warm-up exercise here. So you're going to lift one knee up and try to bring it as high as you can. This is called an alternating high knee raise, with the goal of trying to get the knee to touch the elbow. So you have to really lean your shoulder up and over those hands and really crunch side to side. If your wrist bugs you, you can change your hand placement or even go to your elbows if you need to. Really focus on pulling that belly button in nice and tight. Raise your booty a little higher if this affects your lower back at all. So now, spread your feet out a little bit, ease into your hamstring stretch here for downward dog stretch, and you're gonna lean forward, bringing one leg up close to the hand, nice and flat, right how you would like it for your range of motion for a squat. Then you're gonna push back, downward dog, and alternate lunging the other leg to the other side. And just make it nice and fluid and dynamic, pushing back and forward. Next, we're going to go into a lunge stretch sequence, keeping one leg forward. So here all I want you to work on is leaning forward and gently pushing back. Lean forward, gently push back. Focus on keeping that heel down, allowing the knee to track in line with the toe, but only go as far as you can, keeping that heel down. When you push back, go as far as you can, working towards getting the leg straight, but don't force it. Just keep your hands on the ground and go as far as you're able. And go back to that downward dog position. We're gonna bring the other leg forward and do the same thing. Lean forward, push back. Really focusing on working that ankle range of motion here. Because next we're going to work into a squat stretch. So we're trying to get our muscles here nice and warmed up, getting that blood flow so we can move fluidly. Now both feet in a squat stance. You're going to go into your squat stretch, lowering your booty, pushing your knees out, and then working towards your booty going back up. So you go back and forth, down, booty back up. If you're familiar with our core warm-up, we do this exercise regularly. It is a really important exercise, especially if you're working towards being able to get low to the ground and pick something or someone up correctly, and if you're doing any weighted squats in your workout. So we're gonna do a squat hold in this stretch position for 30 seconds. Again, if you already did this in that core warm-up, let's do it again, get a little bit extra time. I'm just gonna give you the front view here. I'm driving my elbows into my knees, placing my feet flat, putting the weight into my heels and the outside of my feet, trying to get nice and tall, belly in, really focus on that back not being rounded and curving under. And then you're gonna go ahead and relax. So now we're gonna go into what's called foam kneading. So you might be familiar with foam rolling, but we're going to knead, which is a better form of really massaging into the knots in your muscles. So get your foam roller. It can be a long or short foam roller. We're going to place our quad right above the kneecap. This other leg can be out to the side for support. I want you to start as far away as you can, away from the heart. So right above that kneecap. Hold and let bent arm plank versus here. Here I find people are arching too much, so I want you to watch out for your back. And what you're gonna do here is just stay right above the kneecap. Try to flex your foot, so flatten the foot, bend your leg, and straighten it back out. Nice and slow. The tighter you are in your quadricep, especially right here in the front, there is a muscle called your rectus femoris, which is one of the 4 quadricep muscles, and it's deep under the other muscle that's on top. And it is really tough to get in there, but we're trying to dig in there as deep as we can. It is the one quadricep muscle that originates in your hip, so it also affects the hip flexor. And what we're doing is try to work that range of motion into that muscle. So if you're here and you're like, oh, it's really tough, and you can only do like little bends and straightens, take deep breaths, try to relax and work in that leg. So we're gonna continue. I normally assign at least 10 to 20 bend and straighten. Try to make sure you keep your foot flat or flexed. And so what you'll do next is work up to more the middle of the quadricep. So I'm gonna bend and straighten. We're gonna stay on this leg for about 2 minutes would be the goal. Just working into different spots of that leg, finding some knots and working into it. So once you got about 20 in the middle, you could even go a little bit higher. We're gonna stay on this leg and then work into the IT band, which is another real tough one and is generally really sore on most people. So we're gonna stay here, but you're gonna turn, let the foam roller come out a little bit. You're gonna go back to starting above the kneecap. This other leg is just out to the side for support. And I'm gonna push down into the side of my leg, working into that IT band. Flex your foot, very gently bend and straighten. So I'm a lot tighter on the side here, so I'm just gonna ease into bending and straightening that leg. And I'm gonna work towards bending further, digging in. As I feel things loosen up and get a little bit more mobile there, I'll go a little bit higher on the leg and work higher. And this is a tough one. You might need to take breaks. You might even need to put a towel or another yoga mat on top of the foam roller if you're really tight. You want the discomfort of this to be about a 4 to 6. You don't want it to be too intense. Your muscles will tighten up, and then we're kind of working against the goal here, which is to get things to loosen up. So now when you're ready, we'll go to the other side, spend a couple minutes on that side. So I'm gonna start on the quad. Again, right above that kneecap, this other leg is to the side. And then when I find a good spot, I'm gonna bend and straighten, digging into that leg. Sometimes I'll have clients where it's too intense just to do one leg at a time, so I'll have them put both legs on the foam roller, and I'll just demonstrate that to where they maybe alternate bending and straightening or something, but I really encourage them to work towards where they can put enough pressure with one leg. Once you've got about 20 above the kneecap, go to the middle of the leg, bend and straighten. And it's really up to you how much time you can and would like to stay here. I encourage at least 2 minutes. If you can go longer, go longer. Think of a deep tissue massage. So what we're doing is called SMR, self-myofascial release. You're giving yourself a self-massage, and we're trying to dig into the muscle. A lot of times I'll see people go too fast when they're rolling, and it's kind of like someone doing that in a massage. Ideally, we want someone that's going to dig in and really work into that muscle to help the knots in there relax. So if you've got enough on your quad, go to the IT band. I'll just turn this way. So get up into that side plank right above the kneecap. Just kind of angle yourself, work in, and find any spots in there where you're like, ooh, that's sore. And then just try to bend and straighten. A lot of times too, if you're really tight, the bending and straightening is too much. It's too intense. So just ease off, put the foot back down, and maybe what you do is just kind of rock back and forth. Think of as if you were kneading dough flat. You're just trying to kind of work into it versus rolling back and forth really fast. And if I ever have anterior knee pain, so front knee pain, generally I find rolling the front of the quad helps relieve that. If I have pain on the side, especially on the inside, I find rolling the IT band is what can relieve that inner knee pain. Sometimes it just kind of depends on what you have going on. If you have something more serious going on, there might be other things that we need to do to relieve that pain. But generally, if it's tight muscles causing that knee pain, just rolling is a really good option to help loosen those muscles up to relieve that pull on the knee. Once you got a couple minutes on that IT band, the last thing we're gonna do is a static stretch. So we're gonna do what's called your couch stretch. So this is where you can bring a chair over or go to a couch or even use a box or a wall. I prefer something where I can kind of flick my foot up to, like a chair or the couch. It's a little bit more comfortable. When you have a wall, your foot is turned up and sometimes that can just be uncomfortable. So I have a mat under my knee. I'd recommend get a mat or a towel or something, a pad, ab mat to put under your knee to help give your knee a little bit of padding. One knee down, the other foot's gonna go back, trying to keep my heel directly behind my hip. And then I'm gonna take the other leg in front. What we're gonna do to start is just lean forward for about a minute here. I like to hold this stretch for 2 minutes or longer. I'll focus on leaning forward first, and then we're gonna come up so that it's a little bit more of a quadricep stretch. So we're gonna stay here leaning forward first, focus on heel directly behind the hip. Really watch your hip pushing into the, like I'm on my right leg on the left side. I wanna push my right hip right in line and in front of that right foot, so that it's directly behind me. I'm keeping everything in line. Squeeze your butt cheek and lock your rib cage down as you push forward. We want to lean forward, feeling the stretch here in the front, our hip flexor, and not get all archy and funky while we're holding. There's a lot of other things you could do. You could twist towards that front leg, things like that. Once we've got a minute, I want you to push the booty closer to the foot, coming more up. At this point, you might want to even use a PVC pipe or a foam roller to hold to give you a little stability. What I really focus on here is that my foot is directly, again, behind that hip. Everything's in line. I push my hip to the right because I'm on my right side. Squeeze booty, rib cage locked down. From here, you could even take the foam roller on the other side and reach up and over the same arm of the leg that's down. We're gonna hold here for a minute and then we'll switch sides and then we'll be done. So this rehab program is very basic. It incorporates a little bit of a warm-up, a little bit of working range of motion and mobility, involves the foam rolling like we did, and just one stretch. So there's a lot of programs that we can progress this to. This is just a good starting point. I also let clients know that the first workouts we did for the mobility in this portion and the foam rolling would be a good warm-up. The static stretch would be something to do after your workout, especially if you did a lower body workout. All right, so we're gonna switch sides. So go down nice and easy. Other knee is down, foot up, and bring the other leg in front. We're just gonna lean forward for that first minute. The other thing to watch out for, the closer my knee is to the couch or chair, the more intense the stretch is going to be. So if it's too intense and you're like you don't want to be in a lot of pain like with the foam rolling. 4 to 6 discomfort is fine. Any more intense than that, we want to modify the stretch. So how we do that is you can push or move the knee a little bit more forward. That'll take the tension off. We're going to go about another 30 seconds here. And I'll have clients notice that they are cramping in their hamstrings and different things like that. It's an indication that you're really tight if you have weird cramping. And we're at a minute now, so you're going to bring your booty back to the foot, nice and tall, but watch losing that rib cage. Lock your rib cage down. Use that foam roller for balance. If you don't have anything to help you with balance, I just tell people to walk the foot out wide. That'll give you a little bit of a wider stance. And like I said, I've got my left leg down. You can go towards lifting that left arm up and over. And you are done. That is it for your knee rehabilitation. We'll see you next time.